There are days when the world feels too heavy, not because of its weight, but because our soul has forgotten how to breathe. Have you ever felt tired? Not the kind of tired that sleep can fix, but the kind that seeps into your bones, the weariness that lingers beneath the surface, the kind of tiredness that no matter how many hours you sleep, you wake up already exhausted. It's that deep ache you feel in the quiet of the morning when you try to rise, but your heart is too heavy to move. You drag yourself through the day, a walking shell of who you once were, where joy becomes a distant memory and hope a faded echo, just a faint whisper in the corner of your mind. You smile, but you're not really there. You laugh, but it's not the same laughter as before. You go through the motions, but inside you feel nothing but the weight of emptiness. You function, you survive, but you're not truly living. And deep inside, something aches. A silence too loud to ignore. An emptiness that grows louder with every passing day. A longing for something, but you're not quite sure what. This is not just the weariness of the body, but the exhaustion of the spirit. It's the kind of tiredness that comes from living in a world that doesn't stop. In a world that demands, that takes, that pulls at you until you feel like you're about to break. In moments like these, it feels as though everything around you has moved on, and you're stuck, suspended in time, waiting for something to change. But change never seems to come. The weight isn't just from what is happening around us, it's from forgetting how to listen to our own hearts. It's from losing touch with the stillness within. This video is for that ache, for that restlessness that no amount of sleep can ease, for that longing that no material thing can fill. It's a space for you to remember that you are not alone in this feeling, that this struggle is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of being human, a sign that your soul is trying to tell you something. In the quiet spaces of your heart, there is a whisper, a call to return to what is true, to stop running, to stop pretending, to stop hiding behind distractions. This ache, it's the soul seeking something greater. It's the heart calling out to the divine, longing for the peace it was created to experience. So if you're tired, if your soul feels weary, this video is here to remind you, you are not broken. You are simply being called home. Part 1. Recognizing the soul's exhaustion. Modern life moves fast, faster than the heart can follow, faster than the soul can breathe. We chase success. We scroll endlessly. We pretend to be okay. But the soul doesn't lie. When the soul is tired, it speaks in subtle ways. Irritability, numbness, a longing you can't name, a sadness you can't explain. The Prophet Muhammad once said, "There is a piece of flesh in the body. If it is sound, the whole body is sound. If it is corrupt, the whole body is corrupt. Verily, it is the heart." Sahih al-Bukhari. When the heart is neglected, the soul begins to wither. Part 2. What makes the soul tired? The soul grows tired, not just from hardship, but from noise, from rush, from constantly having to perform. Smile, please, compete. Pretend you're okay when you're quietly falling apart. We weren't created to live this way. Every day we are bombarded with images, voices, opinions, everyone shouting, few listening. We're connected to everyone, and yet feel deeply disconnected from ourselves. And that, too, exhausts the soul. The soul grows tired when we forget our purpose, when we fill our calendars but empty our hearts, when we keep consuming but never reflect. The Quran tells us with striking clarity, "And whoever turns away from my remembrance, indeed he will have a depressed life." Surah Taha 2024. Notice the word used, my shatan danka, a life that feels constricted, heavy, joyless. It's not about material poverty, it's about spiritual suffocation, because the soul doesn't just need comfort, it needs meaning, it needs presence, it needs God. You can sleep in the most luxurious bed, yet wake up with a soul that feels homeless. You can have hundreds of friends online, yet feel invisible in your own heart. That's because the tiredness of the soul isn't solved by rest alone. It's solved by return. Return to what matters. Return to truth. return to God. Sheikh Ibn Attila, a master of the spiritual path, once said, "What has he found who has lost you? And what has he lost who has found you?" It's a powerful question. What do we really have if we've lost that inner connection? The job, the fame, the admiration, the followers? All of it is like dust in the wind when the soul is hungry. The Sufis often describe the world as a veil. It covers, distracts, seduces, but it doesn't satisfy. Because only the real can fill the heart. Al-Haq, the everlasting. But here's something we don't always admit. Sometimes we are the ones who feed the soul poison, by holding grudges that rot the heart, by chasing what was never meant for us, by comparing our lives to filtered illusions, by silencing the part of us that longs to kneel in prayer. And then, we wonder why we're exhausted. Imam al-Ghazali described the heart as a mirror. When it's covered with dust, it cannot reflect the divine light. You don't fix the mirror by replacing it. You clean it. So too with the soul. You don't need to become someone else. You just need to remove what never belonged there. Maybe your soul is tired because you've spent so long being everything for everyone that you forgot how to just be in the presence of the one. You don't have to keep carrying what is breaking you. You were not created to drown in anxiety and emptiness. Your soul is tired because it remembers a home it hasn't returned to in a long time. And maybe now it's finally whispering, "Take me back. Take me back to peace. Take me back to stillness. Take me back to God." Part 3. The Sufi Path to Healing. The Sufi path teaches us that healing doesn't begin with doing more. It begins with letting go. Letting go of the noise. Letting go of the illusion of control. Letting go of the self that is not rooted in the divine. 1. Silence, sukut. The heart needs silence, not just the absence of sound, but the stillness of the inner world. In silence, the soul breathes. In silence, the illusions fall away, and only the real remains. Rumi said, "Silence is the language of God, all else is poor translation." The early Sufis would sit for hours, not speaking, letting the heart speak instead. Because sometimes the most powerful dua is a tear that falls without a word. In a world addicted to noise, silence becomes sacred resistance. It is in silence that we begin to listen, not just to the world, but to the soul's deep longing for its creator. 2. Dhikr, remembrance. When your soul is weary, remember him, even if it's just a whisper, even if your heart feels numb. Start there. Allahu, Allahu. Even if your voice trembles, even if you forget, then remember again. The Prophet said, "The example of the one who remembers Allah and the one who does not is like the living and the dead." Sahih al-Bukhari. Dhikr is life, not just for the tongue, but for the soul. Ibn Attila said, "Do not leave the remembrance of Allah because your heart is not present, for your forgetfulness of the remembrance of Him is worse than your forgetfulness during the remembrance." The beauty of dhikr is that it doesn't require eloquence, only sincerity. You don't have to feel it perfectly to begin. You just have to show up, and slowly, the heart that was cold becomes warm. The soul that was distant begins to return. 3. Tawakkul, trust in God. The path of healing demands trust. Let go of control. Surrender the illusion that you must hold everything together. You are not meant to carry it all. That's why Allah reminds us, and rely upon the ever-living who does not die. Surah Al-Furqan 25:58. When the heart is exhausted, place your burden into the hands of the one who never sleeps. Ibn Qayyim beautifully wrote, "The most beloved of places to Allah is the heart where He resides, a heart broken in need, yet full of trust." Tawakkul is not passivity, it's not inaction, it's active surrender. It's waking up every day, doing your part, and leaving the rest to the one who sees what you cannot. It's whispering, "Ya Allah, I don't know what's next, but I trust you." And so the Sufi path brings us back, not to a life of ease, but to a life of depth. Silence grounds us. Dhikr revives us. Tawakkul carries us. This is not escapism. This is returning to reality, the realist reality, to a world where the soul leads and the ego follows, where healing doesn't mean becoming someone new, but remembering who you truly are, a servant, a seeker, a soul on a journey back to God. Part 4, you're not alone. You are not alone. You are not broken. You are not weak for feeling tired, for feeling lost, for wondering sometimes if you're even strong enough to keep going. Even the greatest hearts in history felt the weight of silence and sadness. The Prophet Muhammad, the most beloved of all creation, he withdrew to the cave of Hira. Not out of escape, but searching. He climbed that mountain alone, not because he was lost, but because he was seeking something greater than the world could offer. That cave was not his prison. It was his sanctuary, a place where the soul could finally breathe. Even he had moments of contemplation, stillness, and yearning. So if you too feel that ache, that tiredness in the bones of your soul, know this. You walk a path that many saints have walked. The Quran reminds us, indeed, in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find rest. Surah Ar-Ra'd 13:28. Rest is real, peace is possible, but it's not always found in answers. Sometimes it's found in surrender, in returning, in saying, Ya Allah, I am tired, but I am yours. You are not the first to feel this way, and you won't be the last. Sheikh Ahmad Zarruq once wrote, the spiritual path is long and difficult, but there are two things that will make it easier: constant remembrance and good companionship. So seek out silence, seek out dhikr, and seek out the ones who remind you of Allah when you forget yourself. Let your tears be your prayer. Let your ache become your bridge. Let your weariness guide you home. You are not alone. You are seen. You are known. You are carried or not by the one who never leaves your side. When my servants ask you concerning me, indeed I am near. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:186. You don't have to have it all together to turn back. You just have to turn, even one step toward him, and he runs to you. The soul may grow tired. It may stumble through seasons of confusion, of sorrow, of aching silence. It may feel forgotten by the world, even by its own self, but it is never lost, because the one who fashioned the soul in the darkness of the womb, the one who blew into it his spirit, never stops calling it back. There is a call that never fades, a pull that never weakens. It comes not through noise, but through the subtle cracks in your heart, in your longing, in your loneliness, in your late-night whispers no one else hears. It is his voice, soft where persistent, full of mercy. O my servants who have wronged their own souls, do not despair of the mercy of Allah. Surah Az-Zumar 39:53. The tired soul is not a failed soul. It is simply a soul that needs to come home, to remember, to rest in the one who never left. Let your fatigue become your doorway. Let your surrender be your strength. Let your tears fall not in shame, but in relief, because you were never expected to carry this alone. And so we return, with brokenness in one hand and hope in the other. We return because he invites us to, again and again. And what is more beautiful, more comforting, than to be wanted by the divine? What has he found who has lost you? And what has he lost who has found you? Ibn Attila, you are already on the path, and every weary step is a step back to love, back to light, back to him. Welcome home, tired soul. Welcome home. Maybe your soul is tired, not because it is weak, but because it's finally honest, finally done with pretending, with performing, with carrying weight it was never meant to bear. Maybe that ache in your chest, with that quiet unrest, isn't a flaw to fix, but a message from within, a whisper from your soul. I'm not okay living like this anymore. We are taught to keep going, to push, to produce, to smile when we're breaking inside. But the Sufi path teaches something different. It teaches us to pause, to feel, to listen. Sometimes the greatest strength is simply to stop, to sit with your pain, and say, I hear you. Because the wound is not the enemy. The wound is the opening. The wound is the place where the light enters you. Rumi. So be gentle with yourself. Turn off the noise. Put down the pressure, the constant striving, the masks. Breathe. Let your heart return to silence. And in that silence, listen. Not for answers, but for presence. Remember who you are. Not who the world told you to be, but who you were before the world got too loud, before the disappointments, before the fear. You are a soul, carried by mercy, known by the one who created you. Indeed, we have created man, and we know what his soul whispers to him. Surah Qaf 50:16. And remember whose you are. You belong to the one who shaped your tears, counted every heartbeat, and never turned away from you, not once. Peace is not a destination you must reach. It is a return to the beloved. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. Rumi. You are not too far. You are not too broken. You are not forgotten. If this touched something in your heart, pause. Don't rush to the next thing. Let it sit. Let it speak. And when you're ready, share this with someone else. You never know who might be silently searching too. Your soul matters. Your pain is seen. And healing, it's already begun. Because the moment you remembered him, he already remembered you. So remember me, and I will remember you. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:152.